What's up? What's up? What's up? Hemi Cooler 446 pack coming at you all the way live, but not live from an undisclosed location. And today's discussion: what if they reworked Arc Raiders into like a bounty system? You know what I'm saying? On my last video, played Arc Raiders for the last time until they implement some kind of new PVE only mode. Or I ran into this guy last night on YouTube, and he was talking about a bounty system, which I would play the game. I would be all right with that type of gameplay. But as of right now, like I said, I've stopped playing Arc Raiders because I'm running the kind of motherfuckers that when I go through all the problems of getting the loot and all this here, I want to keep my loot, and I don't want nobody to steal it away from me. Just like real life, you don't want to cash your paycheck, then on the way home you get robbed. You know what I'm saying? And I play games like that. You know what I'm saying? I play games like real life. You know what I mean? And true, it's a PvE, and you know, it's an extraction shooter, and that's the basis of extraction shooters. And this game is, it's a wonderful game, man. It's beautiful. It plays well. The basis of the game is really great, but I choose not to play it because of the rats. The rats have run me off the game, run me up out of the game. You know, and I don't usually play PvP. You know what I'm saying? When I get ready to play PvP, I play fucking Call of fucking Duty, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? A good game like this should at least have two modes. And I would even buy a DLC that's PVE only. I would. After initially buying the game, I would. That's me, because the game is beautiful and it's a wonderful game. I have to say, this is the first game that I ever bought and put on a back burner because I don't play PvP. I mean, I can't deal with the PvP. Just can't deal with it. I'm a solo player. You know what I'm saying? And I knew going in that this would probably be the 100% all day gamers will get to know all these maps and know all the ins and outs and the hiding places and all this here, and get real good with the weapons and just start griefing other people. I knew this going in, but I didn't think this game was going to be that good. But I bought it and found out that my assumptions were right. The people that play the game all day long, all day, all night, all week, they get good with the weapons and all this, you know, and they learn the maps, and they don't even fuck around with the arc or trying to get gear. They come to grief and fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like that. Sorry, I don't like that. But I bought the game. So I struggled to level 20 after getting killed several times by rats and people that's out for PvP. And I made it to level 20, and I just said I'll put it on the back burner until they do something with it so it can be a more friendly game. Player-friendly game. Now, if they had a separate PvE/co-op mode, it would be great. Let the PvP motherfuckers have the regular base game like it is now. You know what I'm saying? You can PvP or you can PVE or whatever. But they really need a PVE/co-op mode so people like me can enjoy the game. I can't even enjoy the fucking the artwork and the scenery and the landscape because I'm dodging motherfuckers. Not only I'm dodging the arc, I'm dodging motherfuckers out to just to fuck you off and take your free loadout so they can boast or put it on their YouTube stream or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But last night, I was scrolling through some videos, and this one guy came up with a genius plan. And here's the video.
What would happen if Arc Raiders added a bounty system to the game? That's the question I want to dig into in today's video. We're going to talk about what it would look like if Embark added fully fleshed out factions and a bounty system, how that actually fits into the lore of Arc Raiders, and whether it would be a healthy addition to the core PvPvE game loop. But before we start handing out faction badges and dog tags, we need to rewind and ask why this question even exists in the first place. There has been a lot of discussion in the community about the current state of PvP and this extraction shooter, and before all of you hardcore PvP bros come storming into the comments with skill issue, just get good, it's an extraction shooter.
Yep, I've had that said to me as I was getting knocked the fuck out. Just get good, dude. Fuck you, man. You just want to grief motherfuckers. You don't have to kill motherfuckers, man. Especially with the free loadouts at lower tiers. Like in between the first level and level 20, there's not great gear in the game. It shouldn't be any fucking PvP. Really. But you got those motherfuckers that grief motherfuckers. And this guy has come up with a genius plan. Let's get back into it.
Let me get something clear right away. I personally love the state of the game. The tension of every match, the way other Raiders and Arc both feel like real threats, that is extremely enjoyable to me and a lot of other people who play. But our personal enjoyment doesn't cancel out what's actually happening. A big chunk of the player base is getting tired of what's being called toxic PvP.
Exactly.
I posted a video already breaking down the main pain points from the community and where the split is coming from. You can go watch that if you want the full long form version. For now, I'll give you the summary that even the COD bros can follow. Everyone who bought this game understands that it's a PvPvE extraction shooter.
Yep.
People kept up with the updates, watched streams, and followed the betas, and some of them even jumped into those betas themselves. It's not that they don't understand the PvP part. The issue is that players who bought the game mostly for PvE and the ones who bought it mostly for PvP have very different philosophies of how Arc Raiders should actually be played. Right now, the game allows two extreme approaches. You can kill mainly bots and avoid PvP like the plague, or you can go pure PvP and ignore every bot on the battlefield. Both of those playstyles are valid, both of them work within the rules, and you absolutely have every right to play that way. But there's an imbalance hiding under that freedom. The PvE crowd has almost no impact on the PvP only player's experience. Meanwhile, the PvP crowd has a massive impact on the PvE first player's experience. And that's where the problem begins.
That's
if
right.
PvP players, using their agency, decide to shoot every raider they see, especially in solo queues, there's a long-term consequence. Eventually, the PvE players...
I'm gonna stop that right there for a minute. He's right. The last match that I played, my 20th number, my last match before I hit level 20, before I put it on the back burner, I was teamed up with a couple of guys, and one of the guys straight off the bat when we spawned in said, I don't know about y'all, but I'm killing everybody I see. I got fucked off in the last match, and I'm looking for some payback. So he laid the ground. So I automatically said, I'm going to get what I'm going to get and get the fuck out. That's between you and your demons or whatever you want to do. Me, on the other hand, I'm getting what I'm getting. I'm gonna show you the spawn point where I'm going out at, and not the spawn point, but the extraction point, and that's it. I'm out, and I came up on a pink item too in that last raid, and I was trying to get out with that. You know what I'm saying? So he proceeded to make all kinds of noise, jumping over cars and shit with alarms and shit, you know what I'm saying, causing a whole lot of unnecessary confusion, letting everybody know, here we are, I'm ready to shoot somebody. Didn't ask our input, me and the other guy's input or whatever. So I said, okay, I'll take matters in my own hand. I'll get what I can get. I'll follow him a little ways, and I'll get what I get, and I'm going to the nearest extraction. So that's how I did my last match in Arc Raiders before shutting down and saying, I'm not playing this anymore unless they get a PvP, and a PVE / co-op mode. Let's get back into it.
Will just leave. And I know a bunch of you PvP players in the back are probably cheering at that like, good, less Care Bears, more real fights. But let me explain why that's not actually what you want. If the PvE players leave because of toxic PvP, you're left with a mix of pure PvP and PvPvE players. The people who enjoy both PvE and PvP will stick around for a while until they realize they can no longer participate in the PvE content because every attempt is instantly swarmed by squads looking for easy kills. When that happens, the mixed crowd will move on to another game that respects their hybrid style. Now you're left with just the pure PvP players fighting amongst themselves in a world that no longer cares about the arc, the economy, or the fantasy of reclaiming the surface. Everyone just runs free loadouts, nobody cares about progression, and the game's identity slowly dissolves.
See, this guy knows what he's talking about. Because I for one has left the game, love the game, everything about it except the PvP. And I know from experience, I've been playing video games ever since 1997. Okay? My first PvP experience was, what was that? SOCOM US Navy SEALs. And I was a beast on that game. Kind of, sort of, or whatever. But I saw where PvP was going to go in the future. With the SOCOM US Navy SEALs, I had every installment of that game except maybe one. I think that last installment where they kind of lost touch with what they were, what the core was. It became very toxic, okay? 1997, I've been gaming a long fucking time, okay? So, I knew it was going to get to this point with a really good game, and they're going to implement PvP, and it was going to fuck the whole goddamn shit up. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they don't have a mode for PvE only, just like The Division. Okay, The Division, they were geniuses. They made a section of the map where you can go and engage in that type of shit if you want to do that. You know what I'm saying? They need to implement that or what this guy's talking about right here, and let's get back into it.
And here's the uncomfortable truth. A lot of players who claim they want pure PvP only want it if it's easy. The ones who genuinely love sweaty, high-stakes PvP will always find a game to fit that current meta better. The soul of Arc Raiders is not raw PvP, it's the harmony of the PvPvE loop, having both the Arc and Raiders be threats at the same time, not knowing who to trust, but still feeling like everyone is, in theory, fighting to reclaim the surface. So that leads us to an interesting idea. What if Arc Raiders had factions you could pledge to, and those factions had their own bounty systems?
Genius.
How would that change the gameplay dynamic? Would it help toxic PvP? or would it just make everything else worse?
Genius, I think. I would go back to the game if they did this type of shit. You know what I'm saying? It would be genius if they done that.
To even begin to answer that, we need to ask why PvP exists in this world from a lore standpoint. Raiders are not a unified army. You're not in a neat chain of command. You're a freelancer working for credits. If a valuable item spawns, only one person can sell it to Celeste or Chip. Bronza cannot support everyone. The traders will only pay and feed the raiders who bring them the goods. If you kill another raider and steal their loot, you get the payout and they don't. You're not just fighting for scoreboard ego, you're fighting for who gets to eat that week. The factions of Speranza are basically the desperate shopkeepers of a dying city, and the raiders are the starving dogs fighting over the scraps they offer. It stands to reason that sub-factions would grow within that pressure cooker. Some people believe the Ark is the true enemy and want to reclaim topside. Some just want to survive underground by any means necessary. Others think the world has already ended, and whoever is ruthless enough to thrive deserves whatever they can grab. From that tension, I imagine 3 core factions that would work thematically and mechanically. The Iron Roots, the Hollows, and the Inheritors. Each of them offer perks, but each of them also enforces a code with a bounty system that shapes how you behave in a match. First up, we have the Iron Root. These are your enlist, resist, loyalists. They look at raiders killing raiders and see it as a straight up betrayal of humanity. If you pledge to them, you're signing up to be the team anchor. They value protection above everything else. So Iron Root members get significant shop discounts on defensive gear like shield charges, bandages, and defibrillators. If you grind your reputation all the way to max rank, you unlock their unique backpack augment, the Bulwark. This thing is essentially a heavy class frame that completely removes the speed penalty from carrying heavy shields. You can lug around the biggest piece of cover in the game and still keep pace with your squad. In a team fight, you become the wall everybody hides behind. But the Iron Roots are not just here to give toys. You have a bounty system called Justice, and Justice cares about your aggression profile. If you come into a match with a history of killing innocent players, you're already on their watch list. Then, if you attack a non-hostile raider during the match, they flag you. They don't hand out wall hacks. Instead, they ping your location on the map when you fire your weapon. Suddenly, every shot you take is a trade-off. You can stop shooting, go low profile, and hope the ping dies down while you waste valuable time on the clock.
Stop it. Right. The Division did this shit. Like if you go into what was it called, the Dark Zone or whatever, and all the good loot was over there, you had to extract it, and the NPCs were a motherfucker over there in the Dark Zone, right? So you go into the Dark Zone and there's other PVE, PvPs in there, players, regular players in there, right? And you can choose to go rogue. You go flip this switch on the wall, and everybody knows where you are. You know what I'm saying? If you want to go rogue, you know what I'm saying? Great idea. It needs to be implemented into this game. See what I'm saying? Back to the video.
Or you can keep pushing towards extraction while broadcasting your position to every Ironheart that's picked up the contract. You can still be a villain, but now there's a price on being that villain. If you wear their badge, you're expected to live by the code. You have a permanent green light to kill criminal faction members on sight. In their eyes, you're literally cleaning up the streets, but you are not allowed to kill clean agents, which includes fellow Iron Root members and neutral parties. The game acknowledges that friendly fire happens. Fights get messy, people cross lines by accident, so if you down a clean agent, your HUD flashes a warning. If you then decide to execute them anyway, that becomes a conscious choice. You take the strike and the system remembers.
Genius. That is fucking genius. This dude knows what he's talking about right here, man. I'm telling you.
Strikes and you are disavowed. For 3 full matches, you're marked as a traitor. The Iron Roots now have every reason to hunt you down. There is a loophole though, and it fits perfectly within their value. Because the Iron Roots value life, you can undo your mistake. If you're carrying a defibrillator, you can revive the player you just downed. You literally pick them back up, and in doing so, wipe the slate clean with the faction. The system forgives the incident. That mechanic instantly creates a meta where carrying a defib isn't just about saving teammates, it's an insurance policy against your own trigger discipline. If you're a hothead, you better have a way to fix what you break. Now let's move deeper underground and talk about the Hollows. These are the isolationists hiding in the unstable tunnels and Dark Zone. Their philosophy is brutally simple. Noise brings the Ark, and the Ark brings death. They do not care whether you are morally good or evil. They care about escalation and how much heat you drag towards their home. If you join the Hollows, your role is the Ghost. They give you shop discounts on evasion tech like smoke grenades, shock mines, and adrenaline shots. At max rank, you unlock their Mark III augment, the Whisper. This rig uses servo dampeners to give you faster movement speed while crouched. You can move silently through a building almost as fast as a player can walk. It turns you into the thing people hear half a second too late before they hit the ground. Their bounty system doesn't track how many players you kill, it tracks how sloppy you are. Every squad has a threat meter attached to it. If you fail to take out a snitch before it signals up more arc, the meter goes up. If you ignore surveyors and let them call more arc, the meter goes up. If you bring in drop pods that escalate fights near tunnel entrances, it climbs again. If that meter hits 100%, the Hollows issue a silence order on your squad. As far as they're concerned, you're a liability, and they mark you to nearby squads as exactly that.
Perfect.
Noisy idiots dragging the arc closer to everyone else. The only way to clear the silence order is to go dark. You have to spend a set amount of time, say 3 minutes, without triggering a single new arc alert. No more farming, no more explosions, no more dragging patrols across the map. You have to stop everything and go completely quiet while the match timer keeps ticking down.
That shit is fucking genius. This guy thought of everything. Boy.
At that moment, you're forced into a choice between continuing to fight the lobby or hiding in a corner and watching the clock eat into your run. Again, your playstyle isn't banned, but there is a cost. If you pledge to the Hollows, they expect even more from you. Your threat meter becomes more sensitive than normal players. It feels about 30% fast. That means you have to be cleaner and quieter than everybody else. If you still manage to blow it and hit 100%, you fail what they call the discipline check. They don't yell at you, they hit you where it hurts, your wallet. For the next 3 rounds, any loot that you sell to a vendor is purchased at half the normal price. You're working for 50% pay until you prove that you can keep your head down again. They don't stop you from causing chaos, they just make sure that incompetence and noise are not profitable. Finally, we have the Inheritors. These are the aggressors, the top tier scavengers, the ones who look at the apocalypse and see a business opportunity. They don't care about justice, they don't care about noise, they care about value. In their eyes, the Exodus left the world to the strong. And if you can't protect your loot, you don't deserve to keep it. If you pledge to the Inheritors, everything is about money. They give you a special fence bonus. Any loot you extract that was stolen from another player's corpse sells for 50% more than its standard value. They literally pay you extra to be a bandit. If you grind to max rank with them, you unlock their Mark III augment, the Mule. This looter class augment gives you the maximum inventory slots in the game and uses a gravity displacement mesh to reduce the weight of stolen loot by 50%. You can wipe an entire squad, scoop up every piece of heavy gear they were proud of, and still sprint to extraction like it's no big deal. But even the Inheritors know unregulated greed can blow up in their face, so they police it with a system called the greed threshold. For the first 15 minutes of a match, you're safe. The system doesn't bother you. Once the timer hits the halfway mark, it scans your backpack. If your found loot exceeds 300,000 credits in value, you get a warning, high value cargo detected. From that moment on, you are marked with a gold zone on the map. Any inheritor that picked up the contract will get a ping of your location every 3 minutes. They won't know your exact location, but they know the region you're operating in, and they know you're carrying something worth dying for. That gold zone turns a normal public extraction into a potential suicide. Public extract calls take about 45 seconds to arrive, and 45 seconds is an eternity when every inheritor in the server knows there's a walking paycheck somewhere in that circle. The smart counterplay is preparation. If you bring a Raider hatch key, you can dip out instantly and cash in. If you didn't, you have to fight to keep that loot and survive long enough to get out. The whole reason to risk it is that if you successfully extract while marked, the Inheritors pay you a 1.2 times multiplier on that run. You're basically getting hazard pay for being the bullseye. There is one more rule to being an Inheritor: don't eat your own. If you kill another player who is also pledged to the Inheritors, you trigger something called the blood tax. The tax is calculated at a 1:3 ratio. So if you kill a fellow inheritor who is killing 75,000 credits in value, you immediately owe the faction 25,000 from your own stash. If you can't pay, you get flagged with a debtor status. You are not exposed to the whole server, but you are marked specifically to other inheritors. They can see your debt, they know you wronged the faction, and they're allowed to hunt you down, kill you, and turn in your tags to claim that debt money for themselves. When they do, your debt is cleared, and the faction books are balanced with your...
Man, this guy is genius. He thought of it all, dude. I got to give it to this guy. Y'all go over there and check out his channel. I'm giving him props, man. I'm using his video. Darth Trooper, that's his name. Go check him out. That's where I originally got this video from. This guy is, God, he's amazing.
your life. Now, before we talk about squads and how these factions mix together, there is one big clarification on how these hunts actually work. You do not get this intel for free. Just because you pledge to the Iron Roots does not mean that you walk into a match seeing red dots everywhere. The UI is still clean by default. To participate in the hunt, you have to make a choice before you ever hit the surface. You need to visit your faction vendor in Speranza before you load into a match and pick up a specific active contract. If you don't equip the contract in the lobby, you don't see the targets in the game. That means you can absolutely choose to have a chill run where you ignore the politics, just focus on the PVE and extraction. The important thing is that contracts are opt-in. You decide in the lobby whether you are going to involve yourself in the bounty game that match, or whether you are just there to survive. But to be crystal clear, no one is immune. Your faction pledge determines who you prefer to hunt, not who is allowed to hunt you. The rule applies to everyone equally. Your badge gives you perks and defines your penalties, but your actions in the match determine whether you become prey. So you always have to watch your back, because you never know which faction you just angered. Now this is where the final puzzle piece comes in, because you absolutely cannot split player bases in a live service game. If I can't play with my friend because he picked the green team and I picked the red team, I'm not gonna play. The second the game tells me I can't squad up with my buddy because of a menu choice we made 3 weeks ago, that system is already dead. The solution is to treat mixed squads as joint operation. In a mixed squad, individual players keep their personal perks like backpacks and shop discounts, but they share the liabilities. That creates a natural social friction inside the voice chat. So let's talk about how that would work and introduce the idea of faction synergy and mixed liability. The big question people will ask is this: if I'm an Iron Root and my duo partner is a greedy Inheritor, do we have to break up the squad? And the answer to that is absolutely not. You never want friends to stop playing together. In Raiders, you should be able to mix and match factions of any size. However, the game shifts depending on whether you're running a pure squad or a mixed squad. If you and your friends all pledge to the same faction, let's say a trio of 3 hollows, your team is operating as a pure squad and you unlock what I'd call faction synergy. This is a small passive buff that rewards you for coordinating your allegiances. Pure squads are rewarded for committing to a shared identity, but the buffs are not so overwhelming that you can't win without them. They're incentives, not requirement. On the other hand, if you run a mixed squad, maybe an Iron Root, a Hollow, and an Inheritor in the same trio, you lose that synergy buff. Instead, you're operating as a kind of joint task force. You keep your personal benefits, but when it comes to liabilities and bounties, you live and die together. This is where the gameplay actually gets spicy. There is a guilty by association rule. If your Inheritor teammate starts killing clean agents, the entire squad is marked. The Iron Root doesn't get to stay hidden just because he wasn't the one killing. If your friend paints a target on his back, he paints a target on yours too. You either defend him and fight as a unit, or you die with him. Suddenly, that murder hobo in your squad is not just annoying, he's dragging heat onto everyone else. That's the ecosystem this kind of system would create. You have 3 factions, each fighting for the soul of Speranza in their own way. You have a bounty system that turns every match into a story about justice, stealth, or greed, instead of just random strings of gunfight. And you have a squad system that forces you to actually communicate with the people you're playing with. Do you run a pure squad and lean into those tactical buffs and become a cohesive wall of one philosophy? Or do you intentionally mix factions so you can cover every base? The choice is yours. In my eyes, this is one of the fairest ways to implement a bounty system in Raiders. It doesn't neuter PvP, but it gives the community more reasons to play the way they want and still feel like their behavior has weight. It lets the PvPvE harmony survive without letting one side of that equation completely cannibalize the other. So pick your side, watch your back, and remember, someone is always willing to take your dog tags. And now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about adding factions and a bounty system to Raiders? Would it fix toxic PvP or just create new problems? Write your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you topside.
Perfect. Now, I would start by playing if they implement this. This is just an idea. It's not on the board. It's not on the future of Arc Raiders or anything. It's just an idea. If they implement this instead of a standalone PVE, I would be willing to go back and play in this scenario. Yep. So I just had to bring y'all that and show you what some of these ideas are floating around, and hopefully the Arc Raiders devs will take a look at it and try to do something about it. You know what I'm saying? Because right now you got a lot of people like me just left the game alone because they cannot or won't play PvP. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, this is Hemi Cooler 446 pack, and I'm up out of here. ABC, you wouldn't want to be, y'all.